The House of Lords, as it presently exists, essentially is a complementary chamber to that of the House of Commons. In other words, it carries out tasks that quite often the House of Commons doesn't have the time to fulfil, or may not, for that matter, have the political will. So essentially, it seeks to carry out tasks that add to the political process, that add value by, for example, scrutinising legislation, making sure the detail is appropriate, by scrutinising government and public policy, and by debating issues, especially issues that may fall outside the context of party conflict, that matter to some people in the country that otherwise might not get discussed.
The usual role of a second chamber is to revise laws and to scrutinise them in some detail, and also to some extent to hold the government to account. And the House of Lords in the UK is a chamber which does precisely that. It does it through various means. It asks questions of the government on a daily basis, and something like, in the past year for which we have figures, something like 7,500 questions were asked of ministers in the government. We have debates in the House of Lords which are on topics of general interest. We have committee work, which means that every single law is looked at in enormous detail. Every line, every comma is looked at. The important thing perhaps to remember in the House of Lords, unlike in the House of Commons, is that there is time to do this because we have no time limit on our debates. I think, too, it is important to point out that the House of Lords fulfills an enormously important function of bringing to bear expertise on laws which very often are highly technical.